Was the All-Star game the first time you did that, or you did that before then?
First time that I've ever done it to people be able to see it. Now, like I said earlier, Jeff, I practiced that thing
Yeah.
I probably practiced that past. Seriously, you think I'm lying? I'm not lying to you. When I say like 30 to 40,000 times I've tried to do that, and I've only been successful maybe three or four, I'm not lying to you.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing play. Jameel Muhammad and Jeff Cardozo dive into the hobby, which is sports cards, trading cards, as well as all other collectibles, right now on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, live from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Hey, everybody, your favorite time again, the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, coming at you from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill inside the podcast room. I'm Jeff Cardozo. He is Jameel Muhammad, and we are two busy guys this time of year, but that's always the case for, I guess, both of us. We're always running around like crazy, but so much to talk about today. We got March Madness and a cool little bracket thing that Jameel's doing in shop, both here and in South Carolina. We've got a great guest, a guy that has won a ring, an NBA championship, Jason Williams, White Chocolate, and a guy that was here when I was in school. So we're both gray and different now, and all that other stuff. So yeah, we can live back on the glory days. But I want to live back on a lot of things because as we go through these episodes, Zach, our great producer, puts up 35, and so I always think of a player and a number, and it's like, oh, that's a big hurt. That's Frank Thomas.
Big Frank.
So, and then now we need Nugenics because we're old too.
Oh man,
all that other stuff. So we're having
speak for yourself there, buddy. Yeah, that's the those are probably some of the most cringe commercials that you see on TV.
Doug Flutie's out there.
Flutie's out there as well, and they got all sorts of people in that crew.
But it is good. And you're running around like crazy. I know you were working hard to get something going for March Madness. So I'm sure that's ready to go, and hopefully, I'll probably win, so maybe I won't enter. But we'll let somebody else win.
We both talk a lot of trash, and then the fantasy football this year we weren't that great. So I'm gonna be low key this year. Honestly, everybody in town is probably gonna be picking the Gators. So
sure.
It's one of those things like, I want them to win, but just in the back of my mind, like, do I pick someone different just to go against the grain? The NCAA bracket challenge we've done it for years, and we've always had a lot of fun with it because we post the brackets in shop, and kids will fill their brackets out, parents, families will come in, and they always want to know how they're doing after round first two rounds, get into the Sweet 16. So it's just a lot of fun, it's excitement. Everyone's brackets always get busted. I mean,
sure.
So you can never get it all right. So I've been watching a lot of these pundits, and they just keep picking the top seeds. I'm like, what? This is not this isn't good. So
and you're right, it is hard because I think, but if you look at last year, all the experts said, hey, UConn's going to roll through this, they're going to win it, and then they actually did. So maybe it's good that a lot of people are picking Florida because obviously we're here in Gainesville, we're Gator fans, and they seem to be the best team right now. They've rolling through everybody, and the second halves have been awesome, and they're pounding people. So it should be a lot of fun. But yeah, you're right. It's like, man, it's really hard to do that, so do you actually pick it?
So it's a good problem to have that we have. But there is a bracket challenge online, so for all of our listeners and viewers, if you want to get into a bracket challenge, we have, I think it's $1,150 in different prizes across all of them. We have men's and women's brackets. You can just go to our Instagram or our Facebook, and you'll see the link. It's Meelypops Madness. .cheapmarketing.co, and you can just go in there, print your bracket out, fill it out, and send us back, and you'll be entered into the contest. So we'd love to have it, and also for men and women, you can do both. And women's side, interesting too, some drama with SC not getting the 1 seed. Don Staley a little mad, so is that going to put a little fire under SC? We'll see.
And the other SC, USC, and UConn paired on the same side. So you got these two great players that you're hoping to maybe see in the Final Four. Now one of them's not going to make the Final Four.
Yeah.
So a lot of drama in the basketball world going on. But yeah, it should be a fun March Madness. So get those in. You got all the 5s and 12s.
Oh yeah.
That's always the upset. But I don't know if there is one of those this year. But
you know who's my upset pick is, and I'll tell you why. It's Clemson. I love Clemson. I mean, South Carolina, but they're playing McNeese State, and McNeese State has the guy named Aura, who has the boombox that comes out in the beginning and got an NIL deal. Yeah. So they got a guy, and he's got all the rap like music. He's like word for word with his team. He's the ultimate hype guy. I don't know if you guys seen this guy. He has his shirt buttoned up, and he has the boombox. So watch out, McNeese State, Clemson, just because of Mr. Ora. We'll see.
That's Will Wade, too, at McNeese State, who was, of course, at LSU and then got suspended or fired because he was paying players before you could pay players. So,
I'm LSU.
It's a different world.
We'll see if that comes true. Just remember my pick. I don't know how far they'll go. They might just get through one game.
Clemson's legit.
I think they got way too high. I think should have been, or way too low of a seed. They should have been much higher. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
ACC
North Carolina makes it. Probably shouldn't have.
So
that's the big controversy. And West Virginia probably should have been in. And speaking of West Virginia, again, Jason Williams here in a little bit. So that'll be fun to talk to him. But I know you had fun with what happened the other night. Gosh, you always do these like madness sales and things that are going on, and apparently it blew up this past weekend.
Yeah, we had our own our own March Madness. We call it Meelypops Madness.
Okay.
It's a sale that we do. It's a live sale we do. And I've talked about this on the podcast a couple times before, but we promote it, we push it, and myself and Tim will run this sale for about 2.5 hours. It's a live sale, but there's tons and tons of single cards. There's wax boxes. There's some memorabilia. There's Pokemon. All this stuff on a table, and we had probably 80 to 100 people in the live, averaging it, and people are just constantly, what's that card? How much for that one? I'll offer this. Can I pair this card, this card, this card?
Oh, wow.
And it's called Madness for a reason, because it is a little crazy. We go very fast. I know I talk fast. I know Tim is very fast on the payment side. So like once you buy something, it's like get your payment in within 3 minutes, because if not, it's going back out. So it's one of these things that has just been a lot of fun. But one thing I'd like to mention about that is we had our best sale total-wise since 2022.
Wow.
And we keep track of these sales. We do them about every 6 to 8 weeks. And it's our 90th session, right? So I saw this trajectory of things kind of calming down after COVID. But the last two sales for us have really propelled. The last sale was the most we've done since 2023. And this past sale was the most we've done since 2022 sale. So that makes me think like there's something going on in the singles market. People are really getting, wising up maybe and going after players. Baseball is super hot right now.
Yep.
People want, we sold so much baseball. And it wasn't just rookies and prospects. It was vets and Hall of Famers, too, that people were buying. So that's been fun to see. I love seeing that because that's kind of the quintessential card. And then you got a lot of people who are interested in football, which to me, football, I was thinking more draft ready, right? Everybody's excited for the draft. What's going to happen? But there's a bunch of people buying cards like mid-season, to see in football. So there's some trends happening in singles that have opened my eyes a little bit too. I think how accessible single card market is to people. How people talk about card shows all the time. They talk about how busy this card show is, how packed it was, and there's still more and more card shows popping up around the country. I think you're getting a smarter, wiser consumer who's going more after players and not on the gambling side, which is great for the hobby in my eyes, because I think that shows we got smarter consumers. Hopefully it'll create lower wax prices. That doesn't always happen, but we'll see. And you just have a lot of fun with it.
So that would be the reason, because maybe more people are buying wax and not getting the cards that they want. And all of a sudden, hey, why am I spending X amount of wax when I can just go get these one or two players out of that box that I wanted, or
graded or whatever. And there's always going to be the pizzazz of opening a box and opening up cases and getting a case break. There's always that side of it, which is fine. It's an interesting time with cards. You're starting to see that single market really grow, and I think for card shops it is harder because wax, there's better margins on it. But in my eyes, I think maybe this will bring wax prices down in the future. Maybe Topps and Panini and Upper Deck and Leaf will pay attention to what's going on. Fingers crossed there. So
yeah, well, it was wax where, gosh, a couple of months ago we were talking and everybody's looking for the Paul Skeens, and some little kid ends up getting it right
Dodgers
around Christmas
fan.
time.
Stinking Dodgers fan.
And
man.
So I know it's auctioned, or it's on auction right now. How's the update on it?
Sure. Shout out to our buddy Nate. He did an episode with us from Fanatics Collect. They got that and the Wembenyama logo, man. But the Skeens debut patch is at I think $650,000 and 2 days left.
Okay.
So could the card hit $1 million? Could it get up there $750,000? I think so. For 3/4, we'll see if it hits the $1 million mark.
So is it like, I go to these golf tournaments and you have like the auctions where you get to write down your stuff and you always wait till the very last second. Does that happen a lot in the card world? Like a lot of people aren't going to show their hand and bid something big? So
a lot of people don't know, but when it goes to an auction house, let's say Golden, Fanatics Collect, Leland's, Heritage, there's something called extended bidding. And extended bidding is, although the Paul Skeens ends in 2 days and how many hours or whatever it is, there's a time called extended bidding at the end where if any bids come through at that time, it extends the auction for, let's say, a minute or 30 seconds. Everyone has a different kind of setup. And so these auctions can kind of continually move, right? And they don't actually end for quite a while because of extended bidding. There is a world, and this is kind of getting behind the scenes, peeling back a little bit, but there is a world where I've heard rumors, I won't name specific auction houses, but you'll start to see, like, let's say me, you, and another guy are the top 3 bidders. Well, they'll start a group text between those 3 people, and they'll say this and this, and they'll kind of, irk or prod, like, hey, this guy's bidding this, or this guy's going to tap out at this. Like, so there's a world there where I think there's an auction manipulation, but the truth is when it sells, it sells. And then they get the buyer premium. So whoever buys that card is going to be paying 20% more just because of the buyer premium, which is quite a bit of money.
That is quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then this weekend, you're always hustling, running around. You got Duval.
Yeah, the Duval Card Show. It's one of the bigger shows growing in Florida. I'm looking forward to that. That's this weekend. Taking a team over there where you do, it's no longer buy, sell, trade. It's buy, sell, trade, grade. Mm-hmm. And it's also buy, sell, trade, grade market, right? So a big part of what we do is we want to be out there, encourage people in the hobby, help people with grading submissions, and then, of course, all the buying, selling, and trading. But, yeah, it's a fun little show. It's about 125 tables, maybe a little bit more than that. And I think they're growing that to the future in the fall to move to a bigger venue. So I like to see that with shows. When shows are growing like that, especially in a massive market like Jacksonville, you want to be a part of that. So it's not too far for us, and we'll be doing that Saturday and Sunday. So if you're in town, come on out.
Sweet. And then next Saturday is Jason Williams, of course, who we'll talk to in just a few minutes. But I know, I've mentioned it a few times on the local radio show that I do and talking to people in town, and they're just the nostalgic of him coming back is really cool. And, I feel like I want to ask him because, that was the generation of, you went through the nut hugger shorts, and then he got to the point where he was like just all the way past the knees, the baggiest thing ever, and it was street ball and it was all this other stuff. So there's a lot of people that from that time and era are just excited to be around him again.
What was it, And1 brand that when they came out? It was all massive baggy.
That was like early '90s.
Hot Sauce and all those guys, and I mean, it's funny, people talk about street ball, and there's really, I think Jason Williams is kind of that bridge. He was the guy that took what was very popular in the 90s. I mean, you got, of course, the Jordan lovers, you got the the Kobe lovers in the 90s, late 90s, stuff like that. But as you get into what he did, I think he brought a culture over, right? You have not just the street ball moves and all the oohs and ahs, you have the shoes that became a massive deal. And I know shoes were always a big deal in basketball, but I just kind of think like there's a lot more credit he probably didn't get for what he was able to do in the NBA, right? He wasn't doing this at just a collegiate level, or high school level. He did this at the National Basketball Association level. So it was very interesting seeing just his rise. And then, of course, near the end of his career, he picks up a championship, which is awesome. And he was a big part of that team with the Heat. So.
Yeah, he certainly was. So people, do they need to get tickets? Can they just show up? What's the deal?
So Jason has said, and we can talk to him about it. He goes, look, he's just a good dude, loves the fans. He said, I'll be there until everyone that got in line gets an autograph. So you can get a ticket if you like. If you're worried about it, come to the shop, call the shop. We actually have it on our website, Meelypops.com. You can buy a ticket. They're $30. You can get an inscription, $10. Very reasonable, and we're going to be kind of like the Lagway signing. You can do a selfie picture and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
But I'm sure Jason will chat with you. He loves basketball. He loves talking hoops and loves talking Gators. Plus, his daughter's at UF playing softball, so maybe you can talk to him about that as well.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. She got a big win, helped the Gators beat Texas, who was the number one team in the country on Monday here in Gainesville. So always stuff happening, so let's not wait any longer. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we will talk to Jason Williams here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
This is Jameel, owner of the Meelypop shop, Gainesville's home for collectibles of all sorts, including every single type of sports cards, whether it be Panini, Topps, Leaf, Upper Deck. We have it. Come on in, get yourself a box, a pack, get yourself some supplies, get into our breaks, get your Pokemon, get your Yu-Gi-Oh! All the other different kinds of TCG products that we carry and shop are always fully in stock. You can find our stuff on our website as well, Meelypops.com. That's another way you can interact with the store, or you can just come into the shop. We're located off 39th Avenue by I-75 behind Walgreens and Sonny's. Stop on by. We're open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can check us out on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'd love to see you. Come on out to the shop, have some fun, be a part of the card community here in Gainesville, and always go Gators.
All right, we welcome you back into the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Jeff and Jameel here with you, about to bring in Jason Williams, which will be awesome, and certainly for people our age, I guess Jason and I are about the same age. It's just you look at all the things and just the impact that he certainly made after college, getting into the NBA, and all the great things, and now you got even our kids in these YouTubers, and they're checking out the passes and the moves and everything else. So good times to bring him on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I got linked up with Jay not too long ago, and we're excited for this big event that we're hosting at the shop. And I'm just really excited to see Gator Nation kind of come out, as well as all these people in Florida. Florida, Jay played with a few teams in Florida as well in the NBA, so it's kind of a homecoming in a way for everybody to come on out and spend some time. So I think Jason's with us on virtual there. How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me, bro. Can't wait to come to Gainesville and have a good time with you guys.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, just the kids and the good time and everything else. So let's start there with the side of those fun times from back in the day. And and I think when I look at it, I got here and I'm a baseball guy, and I step on and there's Brad Wilkerson. I'm playing with him and I'm like, damn, this dude's legit. Like, I haven't seen this kind of stuff. And I remember, Eddie Shannon was from my area down there. So we kind of grew up a little bit and played. And I know he was probably a big part of that team for you too. So was it the same, like coming from, the high school days in, little old West Virginia and then maybe Marshall to now all of a sudden, oh, damn, I'm at Florida. I'm playing with him. And I got Kenyon there. And, Major Parker comes in that first year. Like, what was that like?
I mean, it was for sure a little bit like that for me because I had never been around that much talent. I mean, I've been around a couple good players in my career up to that point, but nothing that talented as a whole, as a team, So, and it's funny you mentioned Brad Wilkerson because the first time I played against him in the Southwest Rec pickup basketball, that sucker can only hit a baseball. He can shoot a basketball too, bro. So I was like, holy cow, this guy can shoot, not only hit home runs, he can shoot threes too. But back to your question, Kenyon Weeks and Eddie Shannon, those guys were so talented, and they made my job a lot easier once I got to Florida and playing with those guys. And I actually saw Eddie not too long ago when South Carolina was in Gainesville playing and took a butt whooping from the Gators as usual. But Eddie's still playing ball. He still looks in good shape, like he can still play minutes in a major way.
And Jameel, Brad too, like not only that basketball, I mean, he'll smoke you on the football. He'll go out there and shoot a 69 in golf. Like it's just, and he doesn't even look like an athlete. He's got a little belly to him. You're like, how the hell is this guy so good? It's crazy.
I think it's just in the water. From the shooting part of it, it's just in the water in Kentucky, I think, bro.
That Kentucky water is what you need, huh? Well, Jay, we're excited. We're excited to this next weekend, March 29th. You're coming out to the shop. We host a lot of these events in the past, and you're the first NBA player that we've had in for an autograph signing. And I can't tell you how many people just love hoops here in Gainesville and really in Florida. So when you do these autograph signings and when you get a chance to like interact with those fans that followed you and followed your career, what is that like on the other side of the table when they're passing? What kind of emotions you go through, and what do you look forward to when you do these autograph signings?
Man, it's a great feeling. It's first off, I'm thankful for you guys wanting me to come to your shop. That's a good feeling in itself. And second of all, for the fans, my main goal is when I go in there is for one to have a good time, and I want everyone to have a good time. And I know sometimes there's mishaps and things like that, but that's just part of life. But the way people handle things like that is also indicative of what kind of time you can have. So, but I'm always really looking for someone to ask me a question that I've never been asked. And that's only happened maybe I don't even want to say a handful of times, but they kind of put me on the spot because I don't sometimes I can just BS my way through some questions, but when I get asked a question that I've never been asked before, I kind of makes me want to think about it and give them the correct answer.
We got to think of something.
We do have a rapid fire segment coming up at the end. I did my research, Jay, so I'm gonna save that for the fourth quarter because I got some questions you may never have been asked before.
Okay. Sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. That'll be good. Yeah. I do want to ask you a little bit about Billy and getting to go there and play at Marshall with him, and then you followed him here to Florida. I think everybody around here knows how special he was, how special you were, and everybody remembers you guys smoking Kentucky up in Rupp that year. But what was it about him that made you want to go there and play for him, and then follow him to here? And then did he ever get out on the court with you? I mean, he used to talk a pretty mean game too about getting out there and beating the kids around.
Oh, for sure. I think he picked and choose who he wanted to try to get out there and beat up on. I was never on that list.
Yeah.
But in practice and individual instructions and things like that, he definitely got on the floor with us and did things like that. And I personally, I like that about a coach. I mean, sure, these older guys that can't get on the court, they definitely know their X's and O's like that. But I like the guy that can get out on the court and actually show me what I'm doing right or what I'm doing wrong or how I can do it right and things like that. But Billy Donovan was more than just a coach to me, and it's funny you mentioned his name too, because I just saw him the other day, 2 weeks ago here in Orlando when they played the Magic, and I got to chat with him a little bit after the game, and he was just letting me know that I owe him a couple years of it back to his life because I took a few off.
Yeah, no doubt. With that too, I'm sure the way he coached you, or even, gosh, probably your AAU coaches and high school coach growing up, they probably tried to, deter you from all these great things that made you so good. And I would assume, being a great athlete that you are, did you had to have practiced all those passes. You're not just doing those out of the blue. So did you get mad maybe if people discourage you from doing that kind of stuff, where you like to just go do your thing?
Well, no, I definitely practiced everything you see me ever do in my life. I've practiced that multiple times, but I probably did get discouraged a little bit, just inside my mind, but not physically, or I didn't really let it show. I just tried to find out a different way to do what I wanted to do. So it would kind of let me be at ease because I still felt like maybe I was still doing it my way. But in the passes and things like that, I had great teammates that caught a lot of bad passes and finished a lot of bad passes. So I don't think my teammates get enough credit that they deserve.
Well, you had some amazing teammates in your NBA run, man. I mean, be able to play for the Kings, to the Grizzlies, to the Heat, to the Magic, and it's interesting looking at those years. They're kind of fairly evenly split amongst all those teams, and it's amazing to think about the culture of the NBA in the '90s to the 2000s and how different the game is now. But to be in the league for 13 seasons, then, because I mean, they got beat up, man. A flagrant foul was a normal thing back in the day, right? So
you got my mind stirring now, because I'm trying to think of something that maybe you've never been asked before. So now I get to the point where Jameel's talking about the NBA and the different eras and the different times, and you go back to like the Bob Cousy days, and those dudes are wearing like the nut huggers and Larry Bird. Like, could you have done that? Because your stuff at Florida was all the way below the knees and really baggy.
For sure, they were baggy and below the knees, and it would have been hard for me to do that, Jeff. But with that being said, back when I was like, I want to say 7 or 8 or 9 years old, back when you remember the old gym shorts, like the old polyester gym shorts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I wore when I was playing basketball back when I was 7 or 8. But I didn't really like my legs showing, so I wanted to get some compression shorts maybe to wear up under my little tiny shorts. But my legs were so skinny that I couldn't find any tight enough for me. So what I had to do, I had to buy these extra small knee sleeves and pull them up on my thigh so they would hang out the bottom of my shorts a little bit. And I thought I was the coolest kid in the town.
I mean, he's the innovator of sleeves. I mean, people got sleeves on every appendage now, right? I mean, every which way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever want to coach? Is that something that's beyond you? You want to try to do that?
I would love to do that. I think I have a lot to offer to the game in that aspect. I mean, I don't want to say necessarily my X's and O's and things like that, but just like, just things I could tell kids or guys or girls, just how it could be done better. I think I've tried it every which way, the wrong way, the right way, and sometimes I know it's right and I still do it the wrong way, but I just know the odds and the ends and what this can get you and what that's going to get you. So to answer your question, yeah, I would love to coach in some shape, form, or fashion. I'd love to be sitting on that Gator bench, bro. That's like a dream come true to be like a one-on-one type coach or a player development type coach for someone and things like that. I love being in the gym. I miss being in the gym. I miss being part of a team. I miss being on the bus. I miss being on the planes and things like that. I didn't even mention the games. That's the fun part, but the journey to get to the end goal is what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people say that, and it's fascinating that you do say that because it's like you miss the locker room, you miss being around the guys and being a part of that. So when you're not, it's different. And fortunately, I had an injury that ended it, but I still get to broadcast all the Gator sports and be around it, so I still feel like that. But I do sense that struggle where if you're not around the game anymore and something you've done for 20, 30 years, it's hard, isn't it?
It's tough. I struggle with it every day. Like I'm I'm bored with myself, and people say, but all you can do, you play golf a lot. I can only play so much golf. I can only do so many things. I'm thankful that I get to travel around and see my daughters play and hang out with my son and things like that. But at the same time, bro, I need something to do. I need something to, really like wake up and really drive me. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I need some responsibility.
Do you think you can hit a ball further than Mia or no?
A golf ball?
No, just a softball if you guys went out there.
Oh, you give me about a month, Jeff, and I'm gonna go with me. But right now, I go with her.
She had that moonshot not too long ago.
She hit a
Yeah,
ball off the scoreboard in the SEC tournament last year.
Yeah.
That was just crazy.
yeah.
She's a strong girl.
Yeah.
It runs in the family. There's something in that Williams bloodline. So it's good. It's cool to see. So Jason, I got a rapid fire segment that I do at the end of every show. It's brought to you by our buddies over at Titan MRI, and I put some questions together that hopefully make you think a little bit. So you ready for this, man? I just want what first thing that comes to your mind on these questions. Okay.
Let's get it.
All right, let's do it. The Titan MRI rapid fire segment on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast with the one and only Jason Williams. All right, first question. Hershey's Cookies and Cream or Nestle Milky Bar, what's the best white chocolate?
Hershey's.
Hershey's. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
From White Chocolate, he said Hershey's Cookies and Cream. All right,
Yeah.
This is going to take you back now. This is about 30 years ago. Back in your DuPont Panthers days, did a guy named Otis ever moss you?
You know what? No, because I was the one throwing him the ball. I was the initiator of that mossing.
So the moss term comes from Jay Will. You heard it from here. He was the one who threw it to make sure that Randy could moss somebody. So
That's
I like
right.
it.
Yes.
I like it. All right. How about on the hard court? Did you ever break Randy's ankles?
You know what? Nah, he was usually on my team for the most part, and in practice, we were rarely on a different team. So, nah, I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna go ahead and take it a step further and saying he probably would never want to switch out on me anyway.
Well, shout out to Randy. I know he's gone through a battle recently, come out public, and it's awesome to see him overcoming the support. I just gotta love him, man. Just love what he's about, and same with you, man. You guys are just gamers and everything you do. So love seeing it and all the love and support to Randy Moss. All right, next one, Jackson, your son. He's a little baller. He's got a YouTube video. Has he ever crossed that over?
You know what? He started playing a little bit too late, so it was kind of like after that I was playing. So I never really wanted to play him because I knew I'd have to get physical with his little butt, and things probably wouldn't turn out the way that it would like, and his mom probably definitely wouldn't like the results of that. So I'm gonna say no to that, but that doesn't mean he can't.
Okay, so it's possible. We don't want that YouTube video out there though. We don't want Jay Will getting crossed over by Jackson. So
I promise you that video will never be out there because one, the game will have to be played, and two, I'll have to play defense for that to happen.
I love it. I love it. All right, it's 2006, almost 20 years ago. It's crazy to think. You're with the Heat. You win a chip. What's a memory you have from that championship run as you just look back?
You know what? Before I got traded there, Shaq came over to my house. It's sitting in this house that I'm in right now. Shaq came over and asked me how I'd like to be traded, if I'd like to be traded to the Heat, and that's a no brainer. To obviously to play in Miami, but to play with Shaq and D Wade, that just takes it another step. And he got Pat Riley on the phone, and Pat Riley asked me the same thing, and then Pat Riley's wife got on the phone and asked me how I would like it. I said, listen, Miss Riley, if you guys get me traded to the Heat, I'll cut my left nut off. Okay.
Yeah.
When I said that, then that later that year in 2006, we won the championship. She came up on stage when we were celebrating in Dallas, and she put her arm around me and whispered in my ear and says, "Don't think I forgot about that left nut."
Miss Riley with the jokes.
That is
Yes,
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
classic one. All right,
yeah,
so
it is.
so talking hoops, and I know you're just a guy who talks ball all the time. Who would Jason Williams say he's the best pure hooper that you've ever played with or against?
That's a tough question because there's so many, but like, remember Andre Miller that played in the NBA when I played in the NBA?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's one of the most if not the most underrated player to ever play. Now maybe I'm a little bit biased because he's in my era and things like that, but I think he was just he was so. I mean, I don't think he'll get mad at me for saying this. He was so unathletic. He couldn't really jump over a nickel. But I'm telling you what, man, he would just give you fits. And Sam Cassell is another one that fits in that role too. He just they did things that were so hard to do, and they made it look so easy and effortless. So I'm going to go with those two. Now that probably threw you for a loop, those two names, but that's the two that come to my mind.
That's
So
good.
for them kids, go out there and Google Andre Miller and Sam Cassell. You'll learn a little bit here. There was some
For sure. No, they'll learn a lot, not just a little bit, a lot.
I love it. I love it. All right, Jay. Favorite pair of kicks to play in, and then favorite pair of kicks for casual wear.
Okay, if I'm hooping, I like to play in the LeBron 16 or 17.
Okay.
But if I'm just walking around chilling, I like the D book chapter ones.
Ooh, D-book. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got a long one here. Stay with me on this one. So shout out to
All
your
right.
daughter Mia on this. She's killing it in softball for the Gators. Her major, according to the athletic department, is applied physiology and kinesiology. And kinesiology is defined as the study of human movement, performance, and function. So here's my question, Jason. Do you ever think Mia will ever have to write a report on the movement and function of the elusive elbow pass?
Man, I think that would be dope if she did get to do that. But I think it would be even more dope if she chose to do that. I think that would be kind of cool. And maybe if I could go to class with her and actually show it, that would be even cooler. So maybe one day, bro. Hopefully we can do that.
We need to make that happen.
We need to make that happen. UF, come on, UF, get on this
Was
now.
was the All-Star game the first time you did that, or you did that before then?
First time that I've ever done it to people be able to see it. Now, like I said earlier, Jeff, I practiced that thing
Yeah.
I probably practiced that pass. Seriously, you think I'm lying? I'm not lying to you. When I say like 30 to 40,000 times I've tried to do that, and I've only been successful maybe 3 or 4, I'm not lying to you.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing play. Guys, go out there and YouTube if you don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, that might be one of Mia's reports she's going to have to make soon, and she'll have Pops to bring in for a
Show
class.
and tell.
Yeah, a case study is what they call it. There you go.
That'd be
all right.
sweet. I'm about to make some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Stipulation. If I come back to class on campus, they got to give me a couple more credits towards my degree. When
I like that. I like that. Yeah. All right, we got 2 left, Jay.
All right.
I want to peek at your bracket. So give me Jay Will's Final Four, and if you don't have a Final Four already picked out, maybe who do you think is going to win it all?
I haven't filled out a bracket yet, but if you put me on the spot right now, I got the Gators in the Final Four. I got Duke. I got Auburn, and who was the other one in the
Houston.
I don't even remember.
Houston, Tennessee. That bracket.
Houston's the other one.
Houston. I don't want to go with. I think Houston will get beat. I haven't really looked at it. I'll go with like a sleeper for my other Final Four.
Okay.
And real quick, as you guys are talking about that, I always wonder because a lot of the baseball guys I'm around, the guys that went to college, and you and Mike are in Miami. Like, do you guys talk smack where Florida, if you're playing like Georgia or Florida State, or you got a teammate? Like, is there stuff that's going on behind the scenes that have fun with?
It's an automatic $100 bet. Automatic $100 bet. And then when the March Madness comes around, when I played with Shane Battier, in Memphis, he was the commissioner, great commissioner of the bracket. You could buy a bracket for $100, and you could buy as many as you want, bros, whatever you wanted. But every morning after the games, he would come in and he would have it up on the blackboard, the results how many points you got, this, that, and other. And first, second, and third place got prizes at the end. First and second was a cash prize, and third place got like a 12-pack of underwear from Walmart, bro. It was the greatest thing ever.
Now, did you ever win one of those tournaments?
I never won one because I always bet with my head instead of my
That's
heart. I mean, I always bet with my heart instead of my head. So, I think this year probably be my best chance to win it because I think the Gators got a real legit chance.
No doubt.
Exciting times here in Gainesville. All right, last one on the Titan MRI rapid fire segment with Jason Williams. Here we go. You played in the league for 13 plus seasons, got a chip, tons of highlights, but I want to know what is one enduring characteristic that helped you get there.
Oh man, I've had so much help trying to get to where I needed to get, bro. I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick one, I could pick one today, and you ask me again the same question in 5 minutes, it might be a different answer. But I mean, hard work would be too much of a cliche answer, right? But I don't know, maybe dedication. I love to practice when I was growing up, and I missed practicing and things like that. And kids hate to practice now, but practicing. And how about this, being daredevilish, like not being afraid to fail. How about that? That was a big thing to help me reach where I get. If you're afraid to fail, I tell kids all the time in practice, don't be afraid to fail, because that means you're not going hard enough. And if you're not going hard enough, you're not going to be able to reach your goals. So just go out there and then just give it your all. And as long as your teammates and your coaches know that you're trying to do your best, that's all that matters. But you're going to mess up, knowing that you're going to mess up, just keep giving it your all.
Some sound wisdom right there.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Jay Will, awesome to see you, man. Really appreciate you coming on, being a part of this thing. I'll be in Oxford next week, so I won't get to catch up with you. But yeah, it's Jameel will do a great job in the shop, and I think so. All the kids out there listening, and think of some random question.
There you go.
That you can surprise them with. Maybe
a
tattoo. Maybe a tattoo question. You only had like 2 up here when I knew you, and now you got them everywhere.
Yeah, my dad didn't know about him either, but when he found out, that was a long day too. That was a long day.
And your dad was a cop, right?
He was.
Yeah. So.
Oh man.
Be good.
That if we could only be a fly on the wall with that conversation.
Yeah.
Huh? There was probably a couple butt whoopings in there. I ain't gonna lie.
Awesome stuff.
Can't wait to see you, man. Thank you so much for coming on, being a part of this. Listen, you're a legend in so many different ways, but Gainesville and really all of Florida, come on out to see Jason at the shop on March 29th. He's going to be starting to sign at 2 p.m., and Jay told me, as many people are going to come out, I'm going to sign an autograph for him. So come on out. It'll be a really fun event.
That's right, y'all. Like you said, y'all come on out. We'll have a good time, man. Lots of laughs, lots of jokes. Maybe some stories will be told. You never know. You got to come and check it out.
That's right. That's what it's all about. Jay, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you guys for having me, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
That's right.
Sounds good. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back and wrap things up on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast right after this.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
We welcome you back to the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Always great to catch up with Jason Williams. I know, and from that, how excited he is to get back up here and get into the shop and see everybody. And he threw a couple of cracks at not finishing school here too, so that's always good. But he still associates with being a Gator. I mean, that's when he was good. And that year, they went into Rupp. He had this great game. I think he scored 22 or 24 points, and Dickie V was doing that game, and he's hyping him up, saying how great he is, and all these things are happening. And I think we, even as athletes on campus, were like just kind of in awe of what he was able to do and how good he was. And then, of course, unable to finish that year. And then Florida wasn't very good the rest of that year once he was off that team. So, yeah, he was the difference maker. And then pretty evident. I don't know if you heard this story. So once that happened, Nick Anderson, you remember Nick Anderson from the Magic? Yeah, Nick Anderson actually called him up and said, hey, why don't you come move down with me in Orlando? I'm not too far. So he worked out with a bunch of the Magic players. and then I guess he did well enough to be the 7th overall pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool stories from J. Will back in the
mid
day.
'90s Magic too. That's
Sure.
Nick Anderson steals the ball right
Yeah.
from Jordan, and that's some fun. I just get the sense talking to him like he's just a ball guy. Like he's all about the ins and outs of basketball. And you've probably seen him on other podcasts or interviews and stuff like that. And he's still got that fire, which is awesome to see. And I loved the fact that he wants people to ask him questions and interact. Like he's not. There are athletes who just will shut down, right? When it comes to signings and smile. Lagway was amazing when we had him in January, and all the people we've had really have been amazing. But I'm really stoked to see this guy and see what's gonna pan out. And to think about Randy Moss and Jason Williams in high school together playing football and basketball.
Yeah.
Like to think about their careers, that's pretty wild.
It is crazy. Like a little small town generates.
It's not many people in
Two of
DuPont.
the best best ever. All right. Well, I know it's not maybe the best week for wax, but gosh, baseball's starting. You got Shohei already tearing it up over there in Japan, doing some things. So I'm sure there's some stuff that you can try to get, right?
Yeah, well, speaking of that, there was a special card they came out with one of the Japanese artists. I'm not going to try and say his name because I'm going to butcher it, but he's like one of the big artists over there,
Okay.
and him and Shohei did dual autograph cards where he did a little sketch and then Shohei signed it.
Oh, wow.
So those are going to be big, specifically in Japan, and I know that they're really pushing some of these new markets with Fanatics. Europe's a big market, and Japan is another huge market to try and really push baseball cards and different things like that. But wax-wise this week, just a few, which is kind of nice for a card shop owner to kind of take a step back and
chill.
all right, we don't got a gazillion things coming out, but Zenith football is on Friday, which is a fun product of a lot of people like to chase some of the inserts. We have the Series 1 baseball tins coming out, which are shaped like Easter eggs, so obviously that's around the corner. One big non-sports release is Star Wars Chrome Black. We've just had an amazing run with the non-sports side, Jeff. I mean, there's a whole contingent out there. Speaking with Stephanie, 2 weeks ago from Mama Breaks about non-sports. Speaking with Joanna last week, and Garbage Pail Kids, artists coming into the shop. This is a real thing. Like it's growing very quickly, and so I'm excited to see where this next iteration of Star Wars comes out. We have 23-24 Upper Deck Premier Hockey, which is kind of a higher end product, one pack. People still chasing Connor Bedard, but you can also hit people like Gretzky. And I know with Upper Deck, they have, moving forward this year, they've obtained a lot of Bobby Orr's game used memorabilia. So you're going to start to see his game used autograph cards in Upper Deck products, which we haven't really seen. I don't even know if they really exist, but I'm excited for that with Upper Deck and hockey. And that's it for the wax side of things. Okay. We have a big release for Pokemon. It's actually next Friday, but we are a pre-release location, so we have a tournament at our shop. It's called Pokemon Journey Together, and I tell you what, people are going nuts. Just the pre-orders and just wanting to get product and how much will it be? How much will you have? I need this. I need this. I need this. So again, it's just lighting a fire between that Pokemon crowd is just continuing to have that just crazy surgeons in the shop every single week, which is amazing. We're very thankful for it.
Yeah, that is awesome. And something just popped in my head as I'm thinking about this, because it's now the time where spring training is almost over. Teams have to cut their rosters down, and a guy like Jack Caglione doesn't make the big league roster right out of camp. So where does that affect the cards? Like, does that then all of a sudden say, okay, well, he's not a big leaguer right away, so maybe the cards go down? Is it a good time to maybe buy somebody like that, or Bazana, like all these top prospects?
I think you wait till season starts. Right?
Okay.
There's always so much hype in baseball from February to April, and there's a lot of market that I feel like it's 80% of the market is really it's inflated, and then what happens is that the other 20%, those players will do well and they'll still gain value, but that other 80% will drop. And so when it comes to prospects, a lot of people forget about them, right, if they're not called up.
Right.
And so the values will just kind of simmer down a little bit. So a good time to buy prospects, typically, unless they're doing something amazing in the minor leagues, is usually right after a season starts and in mid-season.
Okay.
Because they're not called up yet. Now, there is a time when people start to talk about when they're going to get called up, right? Or you might hear this or that from the front office. Then you'll start to see that kind of traction again. But someone like Hags is a great card, I think, to purchase probably. He's still got a lot of hype, right? So waiting a little bit for that to simmer down and where people focus on Major League Baseball more. Maybe there'll be some guys that every year come up. Sure. Bazana's another guy too, right? These guys in the future, what's going to happen with them? And that's why I always say with prospect buying, you got to hold it. You got to be in for the long term. You can't be in for the quick flip. It's really about the long term.
But one thing that needs to be quick, you only have a day or so to get those brackets in, right? So
Yeah.
remind everybody how to make that happen.
Yeah, March Madness, Meelypops March Madness brackets. Go on to, there's two ways to do it. You can come in any of the shops, Florida, South Carolina. We have brackets in shop, fill them out. We're actually going to be open today at 4 o'clock at both locations, so you can come in, get them till close, and then also tomorrow, Wednesday, normal store hours, but you got to fill those in shop if you want to do it, men's and women, so you can fill out 2 brackets. And then if you are not able to make it to the shops, just go to our Instagram or our Facebook page. We have a link where you can print a Meelypops bracket out and then fill it out, and you send it back to us, and then we will include you in the online bracket. So there's $1,150 in prizes spread amongst all those tournaments, and we want to see who's going to be crowned the winner. I like to talk trash to South Carolina too, because I was saying, we have the number 1 seed, and Clemson's the number 5 seed, but they have some people who know ball up there too. So it's going to be exciting to see. And of course, I can't talk a lot of trash because women South Carolina, they're pretty solid up there, and, being a big seed. So we'd love to have you be a part of it. It's something that we just enjoy, the community side of the card shop. I know a lot of shops don't take the time and effort to put into this. We do our best with it, and we want to make sure it's a good experience, and we want you to try and win.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Go get it done. All right. Well, we were winners today. Getting to talk to Jason Williams, always great to do that. Remember, get into the shop in a couple of weeks to get to do that yourselves and in person. So enjoy Jacksonville, and good luck on the card shops there or the card show, and we'll have a lot of fun doing this. We'll be back April 1st for our next podcast.
Not April Fool's. Well, it is April Fool's Day, but we are going to be here. Don't miss it. We're not going to be having an episode next week, but April 1st, we've lined up a good friend of mine who's been kind of a mentor in the hobby when I first got into card shops, and he's just become an ally, just a friend. His name is Alan Norris. He owns a card shop in Orlando, but he has been around for a long time, and many people know him as being the Topps Rip Master, and he's created Pack Wars and all of these things that we're going to talk to Alan about in our interview. So he's a very fun, just got a lot of life. And if you ever go to his shop, go follow his Instagram, Big League Cards. You can see there's just constantly people in there. It's a smaller shop, so it's packed always. He's got all these contests he's doing, and we'll get to pry his brains and get some insight from him on April 1st.
Yeah, be a lot of fun. All right, have a great rest of the week. For Jameel, I am Jeff. You've been listening to the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday at noon.